How are you feeling? Nice, calm and relaxed. 6 games to go. Leeds United 6 points clear of the nearest chasing side, so still very much on course for promotion ahead of another huge game this weekend against Blackburn Rovers. We'll look ahead to that in just a moment, and I'm absolutely delighted to say we'll do that in the company of former Leeds United player Ben Parker and another former Leeds United player, now Blackburn Rovers player, Bradley Johnson. Bradley, thank you very much for joining us. It's a big game for both sides. We'll talk about that in a moment. Before we do all of that, can I have a quick word with you about what you've been doing during this really difficult lockdown period? Because you've been busy, haven't you? You've been working really hard to do the whole PPE thing to try and get people equipped properly.
Yeah, I've been busy. I joined up with my good friend Dexter Blackstock, who recently retired from football a few years ago and went into his own business, which is in pharmaceutical world. And knowing that he could get supplies of PPE and equipment, stuff like that, we just come up with an idea of ourselves getting some for local hospices and care homes. And then we opened up a donation page where people could donate to it, and with that money, with proceeds we get from that, we could order some more. And then we didn't think it would kick off as much as it did, but the demand that we had from it and the response we got from it when we first put it out, it was something that obviously I didn't know how much the high demand was for the PPE. And as you said, once we went out to care homes and started distributing them out and seeing how much a high demand was, it really kicked off from there. And yeah, so that kept me busy. Homeschooling the kids kept me busy as well, something that I didn't enjoy doing, but you have to do it. And yeah, I was keeping fit as we all did. We all got given a program to keep up to in the off season. So yeah, I've been keeping busy and as you said, just helping out the local community and doing my part.
Excellent work. You've done really well with all of that. Well, let's have a little look back at that Leeds United period then. It was a successful period for you. I think the moment probably most people remember is the game against Bristol Rovers. Was it a cross? Was it a shot?
What a cross that was.
It was a shot all day long, Brad.
No, look, I'm honest, it was a shot, yeah. But, it's just one of the things. It could have fell to anyone else, but it fell to the right man at the right time. And, Jermaine, I'm sure Ben would say if we could have picked anyone for it to fall to there in front of goal, we would have put Jermaine. He put it in the back of in the net. And, I think you showed it in the break. I think it was it 10 years to the day. And I remember watching it and, it still gives me goosebumps now watching it there. My reaction jumping up before Jermaine's actually scored because I knew he was going to put it in the back of the net and I knew what it meant to everyone. So, yeah, it still gives me the goosebumps now thinking about that day, and it was a special day for me and everyone involved in the club.
Yeah, it was one of those Leeds United days, wasn't it, when they were full house and all the rest of it, and the tension was rising at the point the goal went in. So is that one of the higher moments in terms of what you've done in the career?
Yeah, definitely. Joining Leeds back in the day when it was in League One, we was in League One there, getting the 15 points deducted, and getting to the playoff final that year and not doing it, it was a bit hard sweet. So we had to go again that year, and there's a few change of management along the way. I had to go out on loan as well. I think after that to get back in the team, but I come back and got back in, and the actual day of how everything went, I think it was out of 3 teams of who could get promoted. I think it was ourselves. Was it Millwall and Swindon? So throughout the day, it was always changing of that spot, and going 1-0 down, especially after the break, and Max Gradle getting sent off. We always done it the hard way, and just to do it, going 1-0 down and then scoring that equaliser and getting the second goal late on and winning it that way, and going up on the last day of the season. Last game was such a huge game, as you said there, in front of a full house at Ellen Road. It was a very special moment for myself and everyone involved in the club.
Other highlight, goal against Arsenal maybe, and Ben Parker talks about the strike as being one of the best he's seen. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, we used to see a lot of that, Ben. Didn't we, on the training pitch?
Yeah, so mine ended up in the field. Yours ended up in top corner. That was the difference, Brad.
No, yeah, it was for me personally. It was obviously Arsenal are my boyhood club, so it was good to score against them. I would prefer if we won the game. But yeah, again, to score in front of a full house at Ellen Road, and a special goal like that, I've not struck a ball like that since. I don't think to score a better goal. So yeah, it was special for me and a moment I'll never forget. Yeah, they're watching it now. What finish?
Yeah, it was some strike. I was saying to Bryn before we did this, Brad, I was directly behind it. As soon as they left your left foot, you just pinged straight into that far corner. But you always had that in your look. And I was saying to Bryn also, like, yeah, aerial threat, we used to try and pick you out and set pieces as well. And you was always a player that just try and chip in with a goal. But when we got promoted to the Championship, you kind of adapted a different role, almost like as a holding midfield player. Did that suit you? Did that suit your game?
Yeah, it did suit my game. I've always, as you just touched on there, I've always been a goal scoring midfielder, so it was always hard for me to retain myself. But that's players around me just had to rein me in a bit because I've always wanted to make the box, and I do like a shot from long range, and I do try. Many fans will say I hit Rose Ed more time than I hit the goal, but if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win. So that's how I've been brought up. But yeah, it was a change for me, and it's something I enjoyed. It gives you more responsibility that you have to control the team in the middle. You're the main anchor man when you're playing that holding role. You have to get the ball off the back four and try and dictate play through the middle. And it was a learning curve for me as well, and something I really enjoyed. And the older I've got, people say your legs go in it, but the slower you get, you find yourself dropping lower and lower down the pitch. So I'm finding that role good now, that holding midfield role. As you said, I'm good in the air. I still fancy myself in the air, and I'm strong. And nowadays the game's so fast, and there's so many good players that it's hard to keep making the box every opportunity you can. So you've got to discipline your game now and play that holding role. But I've enjoyed it, and yeah, I'm still playing it now. So really enjoying it.
What's the start been like? I mean, you've had this weird period. We've already reflected on that. You've kept yourself busy. You've kept yourself fit. But how have you found it getting back into action after you've had 3 months out of the game, effectively?
Yeah, it was hard. As Ben, you know you can train as much as you want, but there's nothing like a match day, fitness-wise. And it was hard with obviously everything that's going on. Coming back in, it was hard to arrange friendlies because everyone's going through the same thing. Clubs were getting positive tests here. Like we had one case where our captain got tested positive. So then it puts other clubs at risk if they come to our training ground and play us. So you had that hurdle. I think we played a game against Liverpool, a friendly at their stadium, which was a good running test for us because we didn't touch the ball much. But yeah, so it's hard to get back into match fitness, but as you said, we're professional athletes. The hardest thing for us now is the repeated where we've not been playing for so long, for 3 months, as you said, going into Saturday, Tuesday. It's going to be hard on our bodies, but we know what is the rewards at the end of it. If like yourselves, if Leeds get promoted, they'll be happy with that, and we've got a chance of making the playoffs, so we're determined to do that.
Yeah, you started the little mini season, if you like, well, with a win at home, then a couple of difficult away games. Do you feel a big difference between home and away? It's something we've been discussing, whether that thing still exists without people in the ground.
Yeah, no, I don't think it. As you just said, yeah, fans do make a big difference. Wherever I've played and home and away, you feel more comfortable at home in playing in front of your home crowd because they get behind you. It is different, and as you said, just touched on there, the results. You just have to look at the Bundesliga. The away teams were beating the home teams, and vice versa now. But as you said, we started off well at home against Bristol City, and we've gone away now and lost our 2 away games. So yeah, it is weird, but as Ben would say, once you get out there, once that ref blows a whistle, fans really get put to the back of your mind, and you just get on with your game. But people do play off emotions of the fans where they get behind you and lift you, and that can help. So it's been weird. I only started on Tuesday night, so it was my first game being back, and yeah, it was weird. But it's something we're gonna have to deal with now, and hopefully it'll next season will be back to normal.
Well, we've been watching the Leeds United games, obviously, while Blackburn have been doing your stuff. Leeds last weekend, an excellent result by beating Fulham by 3-0 in a game that very much looked like a must-win given Fulham's position in the table and other sides maybe with a focus on automatic promotion at that stage, maybe not so much as a result of it. But that was the sort of performance that we'd been hoping for from Leeds in the Cardiff game, effectively, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, no, the response we needed because, as you mentioned, the Cardiff performance, we were just rusty. And Brad will know, is obviously being involved in the thick of the action. It does take a game or two to get up to speed of things. And he's right where he says, when you step over that line, you can do as many training games, as much training sessions as you want. Nothing can replicate a match in the Championship. So, look, we were rusty against Cardiff, but the second half performance in particular against Fulham was spectacular. We helped with a couple of substitutions at half time. And we know what Pablo Hernandez does, the quality he has in his lock. He can see passes no one else can see in the team. But I just thought we was clinical in front of goal. And it's something that's not been labelled as all season, to be honest, because usually you think about us in front of goal, it usually takes a few chances to bury one. But we didn't have too many chances. Fulham had a lot of more possession than we did. But the chances we did do, in particular in the second half, we buried them. So, and that's what's key to football, be clinical.
And you mentioned it as well, Bradley, there. When you've got these Saturday, Tuesday at the moment, is it even more difficult to get yourself prepared and physically ready for the game that follows, the second game of that little group?
Yeah, it is. The demand, the games, as you said, you can play teams in and around you who are top, or you can play bottom. It doesn't matter where they are in the league. Every game is going to be a hard game, and you've got to be at it 100%. So you're getting less recovery time, but then again, when you win a game, you want to get straight into the next game. So it's good once you win a game to go into the next game. But then, like for us now, we've lost the last two games. So Saturday for us is a must-win, as maybe after Tuesday night's draw against Luton for Leeds is a must-win game as well. So yeah, it's going to be a lot riding on the game on Saturday, and I think it just comes down to mentality now and who wants it more. Fitness will get you so far, but teams up and around there in the playoffs, and as you said, Leeds, it's going to be a mentally thing rather than fitness now.
It's very interesting that you tee us up nicely there in terms of what happened with both clubs, I guess, on Tuesday evening, because there was so much expectation that had built up because of the Fulham result around Leeds United. You looked at it on paper, Leeds United play against Luton Town. Luton at the start of the night were second from bottom of the table. And then it was all so different to what anybody anticipated in terms of the performance and probably the result as well, wasn't it, Ben?
Well, yeah. I said before the game, I think on everyone's coupon up and down the country, it'd have been a Leeds banker home win. But as Brad knows and the Blackburn boys know, they went to Barnsley, and every game's difficult. And what Brad was speaking about there, he wasn't mentioning anything technical, tactical. It was just basically desire. Who wants it more? And that's what it's going to boil down to, especially these 6 games and going into Blackburn on Saturday. They're still 5 points outside the playoff positions themselves, looking to get into it. So, look, you can talk about tactics, different formations. It's who wants it overall on the day. That's what's going to make a big difference. And everyone knows how fit we are, how much running we kind of do within games. Like you keep doing it even more. Fight for every minute in every game. I think Liam Cooper came out and said, and that's what you got to do, because as Brad knows, the promotions he's won, there's no better feeling to get out of this league and get into the Premier League.
Yeah, Ben mentioned tactics and formations there, Bradley. I'm not going to ask you about them because I'm sure you've been working on stuff throughout the course of the week with your club, with Blackburn Rovers. But what sort of game do you anticipate between these two sides?
Two teams going at it who want to win the game. As Ben just said there, two teams who have got a lot to play for. Obviously yourselves, Leeds, want to get promoted. Top of the league, it's hard getting there, being there, and they know they're nearly there, nearly across that line. And for ourselves, we know we're only 5 points out of the playoffs. And I've been involved in many playoffs in my career, and once you're in there, you never know what can happen. So, yeah, two teams who want to win, want to get the 3 points, and two good footballing teams as well. So it should be a good game. We're up for it. We want to put our wrongs from Tuesday night right on Saturday, and I'm sure Leeds want to do the same thing. So I'm expecting a good for myself, if I do, but it's going to be a hard game because, you know, Leeds are a great side, some great individual players, and they're good together as a team. But you know, it's going to be a hard game because we're confident in our own ability as well, that we can beat anyone on any day. And I've been told this week, been reminded that Blackburn beat Leeds last year at Ewood Park, so they know it's going to be a hard place to go, and we want to, as you said, win the game ourselves.
Yeah, it was a tight game at Ellen Road as well earlier this season, one which it was a bit nip and tuck eventually. Leeds had a really good start to it, went 2 goals up, then you pulled yourselves back into it. Does that have any relevance in terms of what happens this weekend, that fixture earlier in the season?
No, I don't think it does. You know, you can sit there and pick out things from the game, positives and negatives, but you know, that game seems like a long time ago now, especially with the break that we've just had. And you know, we've had injuries since that game. You know, we're missing Daki from that game, one of our most important players. And I'm sure there's some Leeds players who didn't play in that game who will be playing on the weekend. So you can't really take too much out of the first game. You know, we're back in the mix of things now. You know, in this short space of time, we've played 3 games already. And as I just said there, fitness goes out the window. It's going to be about who wants it the most, and mentality is going to win you the game on Saturday.
Do you think there's an element of using your squad as well involved in this now, Bradley? You know, that if you've got the extra players, if you've got experienced players on the bench, that can make a difference? Oh,
yeah, of course. You know, the demand in this league, playing Saturday, Tuesday, it's not easy. So you're going to have to use your squad. And, you know, the bonus thing that the teams have got now, who have got strength in numbers in their squad, has got the 5 substitutions, which can make a big difference in games. You just see in the top flight in the Premier League, you know, when teams like Man United and Chelsea make their changes, it's like they're bringing in a whole new team. It's only 5 players, but it can make a big difference. So, yeah, the squad, it's not about the first 11 who start the game. It's about who's going to be needed when called upon. You know, there's no bigger time than now when we've got so many games in such a short space of time that the squad is going to be needed. So, yeah, it's down to people who ain't really been played that much to keep their fitness levels up. And because, you know, things can change in football very quickly, and you could be in the starting 11 before you know it and be called upon, and you've got to, you know, you put your shift in for the team.
Do you have a final message, Ben, for your former teammate ahead of this huge game for Leeds United this weekend?
Remember where you came from, Brad, where it kind of all started, please. No, it's going to be a good contest, isn't it? And I'm looking forward to it. Bradley, hope to see you starting. I know you started the last game, but just take it easy on us, please.
Hopefully, yeah. No, hopefully. But as you just said, yeah, it'll be a good game, and I've always enjoyed playing against Leeds every time I've played them. But, you know, it's not that big of a game as it was last time I played against them. So, no, I'm sure they'll do it this year, and fingers crossed that Leeds are back in the Premier League next year.
Well, I'm sure you'll get a good reception from the away fans anyway, Bradley. That's guaranteed. Listen, the only place you can watch the game this weekend is exclusively live on LUTV. We had a fantastic viewing audience for the game in midweek, and I'm sure many of you will be joining us again on Saturday afternoon. Our build-up on LUTV starts an hour before kickoff. Looking forward to it. See you then.